These are the 5 metatarsals of the foot. These are from an adult individual, and they're from the right side of the body. So medial to lateral, we have metatarsal 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So metatarsal 1 is immediately distinguishable from the others because this is much thicker, the shaft is much thicker when we look at it from the side, but when we look from the superior view as well. And it's much shorter, and it's a much bulkier bone in general. So when we're siding metatarsals, the thing to do with metatarsal 1 is look at the proximal end. And this is kind of shaped, well, this one looks a little bit like a quotation mark, but they're usually, what's common to all of them is that they have a rounded side, and then on the other side there'll be a little indentation. So sometimes it's a bit higher up and they look a little bit like a kidney bean, but on this one it's a little bit more, quotation mark shaped. But whichever shape it is, whatever side the indentation is on, that's the side the bone comes from. So it's in on the right side here, so this is a right first metatarsal. We have that rounded side on the medial edge of the foot. For metatarsal 2, and all of the other metatarsals really, apart from metatarsal 5, we're again reliant on looking at the facets on either side of the proximal end. So if we look on the medial side of metatarsal 2, it's very, very tiny on this individual. There's a teeny tiny little single facet just up at the top there. It looks like it's just kind of hanging over from the actual surface here. So it's usually bigger than this, but on the medial side there'll be a very small facet, and this is where metatarsal 2 is articulating with metatarsal 1. So it only needs a really small facet on the medial side. On the lateral side, where it articulates with metatarsal 3, we have these 2 separate facets. So one is up towards the dorsal surface of the foot, and then one down by the plantar surface, but there'll be 2 distinct separate facets. Moving on to the third. So if we look medially, we have to have 2 facets because we're articulating with metatarsal 2. So they fit together like that. So 2 facets on the medial side, and then on the lateral side we have this large single facet up at the dorsal edge of the bone, so up at the top. So that single facet there. And then this will articulate with the large facet on metatarsal 4 on the medial side of metatarsal 4, that is. And you'll notice as well when they're in articulation, and also separately, this facet, it isn't quite on the very edge of the proximal end like it is with the other facets. This one's sort of located a little bit further down the bone. So when they articulate, the actual proximal surface is a little bit further this way than metatarsal 3. So we've got 2 facets on the medial side of metatarsal 3, one large facet on the lateral side. Metatarsal 4, one large facet on the lateral side, which is a little bit further up the bone, the medial side, sorry. And then on the other side there's another large single facet. This time it is on the back edge of the bone there. And then that articulates with a very large single facet on the 5th metatarsal, like that. And of course, because the 5th metatarsal is on the lateral edge of the foot, it ends in this large, bulky styloid process, and there are no other facets on this side. So this is non-articular. So sometimes it can be a bit confusing which is the dorsal surface and which is the plantar surface of metatarsal 5. But if you feel it, the dorsal side feels there's a bump there, whereas on the plantar surface there's a little bit of a groove, just about see, but when you feel it, it feels very distinct and very different from the other side. And this groove is on the plantar surface, so that's the one that you want to put down on the table to put it in anatomical position, and then the bulky styloid process will be on the lateral side of the bone.